In a quiet little corner of a bustling town, there was a tiny tailoring shop run by a woman named Lolita. Her shop wasn't just a place where fabrics were cut and stitched. It was a sanctuary. People from all walks of life didn't just come for a perfect fit, they came for a listening ear and a comforting presence. Lalita had a special gift. She could listen in a way that seemed to mend the frayed edges of a person's soul, while her nimble fingers worked magic on saris. Widows would sit with her, their quiet tears falling as they shared stories of love and loss. Lolita would just nod, stitch, and offer a silent strength that was more comforting than any words could be. Ambitious students, with dreams as bright as the fabrics in her shop, would share their hopes and fears as she mended their school uniforms. Young mothers, weary from sleepless nights, would confide their worries and joys while she hemmed their children's trousers. Through every stitch, she wove threads of empathy and understanding, making her little shop a haven of human connection. But behind Lolita's gentle smile was a quiet ache of her own. She had lost her husband many years ago, a loss that had left a permanent tear in the fabric of her life. She poured all her love and energy into raising her son Arav alone. He was her world, the most precious garment she had ever nurtured. One afternoon, Arav came home from school, his usual cheerful spirit completely gone. His shoulders slumped as he dropped his bag. "Ma," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "everyone's going on the school trip to the mountains. I can't go. I know we don't have the money for it." Seeing the disappointment in his eyes was like a needle piercing Lolita's heart. She hugged him tightly and said with a resolve that surprised even herself, "Don't you worry, my son, you will go on that trip. I promise." That night, a new fire was lit in Lolita. She wasn't just a tailor anymore, she was a mother on a mission. She took on every order that came her way, working tirelessly. The rhythmic hum of her sewing machine filled the late-night hours long after the rest of the town had fallen asleep. Day bled into night, and night into day. Her fingers, usually so graceful, became swollen and blistered. Her eyes grew tired, but the image of Arov's happy face on that trip kept her going. Every stitch was a step closer to her goal. A few days later, a regular customer, Mrs. Das, came to pick up a blouse. She noticed Lalita's red, swollen hands. "Lalita, what happened to your hands? You look so tired." At first, Lalita just smiled and said it was nothing, but Mrs. Das gently insisted. With a sigh, Lalita shared the story of Arev's trip and her promise to him. Mrs. Das listened, her heart touched by Lalita's dedication. She didn't just leave with her blouse that day. She left with a story to tell, and she told it to everyone she knew. The news of Lolita's quiet struggle spread through the community like wildfire. Within days, something beautiful began to happen. People started flocking to her shop. They ordered extra clothes they didn't really need. They paid for their orders in advance. Some even left generous tips, pressing crumpled notes into her hand and saying, "This is for Arov." The very people whose hearts Lalita had so often mended were now coming together to mend hers. The kindness she had so freely given was returning to her multiplied. Thanks to the overwhelming love of her community, Lalita gathered more than enough money. Arav didn't just go on the trip, he went with a heart full of gratitude. When he returned, he was beaming, but he wasn't just holding souvenirs. He was holding a special certificate of appreciation. During the trip, one of his classmates had fallen ill, and Arav had stayed by his side, caring for him until help arrived. When the villagers heard this, they gathered at her shop, their faces filled with pride. One of the elders told her, "Lalita, you didn't just teach him how to be a good student, you taught him how to be a good human. He has your kindness." In that moment, a profound realization washed over Lalita. All these years, she thought she was just stitching clothes, but she was doing so much more. With every thread, she was stitching together the fabric of her community. She was stitching hope into the lives of the heartbroken, and in healing others, she had unknowingly been stitching back the broken pieces of her own heart. Her little shop transformed. It became more than just a place for tailoring. It became the heart of the villager center of warmth, support, and unwavering kindness. People still came for perfectly tailored clothes, of course, but more than that, they came for Lalita. They came for a dose of the kindness that she stitched into every single thing she did. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that celebrates the quiet heroes among us.